Hi, welcome back. This is DMAC. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I've done a lot of picking videos recently, and occasionally I get comments just asking me about what pick I've used on a particular lock, and so I thought I'd do a pick video, which is not something that I've done before. I've been picking for a couple of years at this point, 2.5 years, I think, 3 years, I'm not sure. Anyway, in that time I've, gone through various different picks. I found ones now that I really like, and they certainly get me results, and I feel comfortable with them. But for me, as probably for a lot of pickers, it was a long journey getting there. So I just wanted to chart my journey through it, and perhaps for any new pickers out there, it might help speed them up on their process to finding some nicer picks. Anyway, like a lot of people, I started my picking career thanks to lockpicking lawyer and random videos from Bosnian Bill coming up on my YouTube feed, and so after watching quite a lot of them, I went out and bought the cheap Chinese set with the obligatory clear lock. I think I use these quite a lot. Particularly, there was a couple of hooks in there. I think I immediately really liked the single pin pickings. I think you can see that one's just pretty bent out of use. I use these quite a lot. I never got around to polishing them up or anything like that. They only got me so far, and they were sort of too thick to get into a lot of locks. And as many of you know, many people have been picking for long enough, they come with some real crazy profiles like that one, which really don't do anything at all. I mean, there's only a couple of real useful profiles in these sets, and I think they're really just those two hooks probably, and you can have a little bit of fun with some of the rakes, but pretty much it's those two that I got the most use out of with that set. So I quickly outgrew that set. As much fun as they were, and as much as they sort of started getting me into the hobby, I was really enjoying myself. But I thought I'd want to invest a little bit more. I think then I saw a set. I made the mistake. This is probably my first mistake on my picking journey. Is I bought another cheap Chinese set. This one was a little bit better than the first one. It comes with these handles are really quite thick, and the length of these handles for me is absolutely perfect. I've got quite big hands, so a bigger pick definitely feels comfortable for me. And these ones felt great, but unfortunately they were just really thick. I don't have a micrometer to let you know exactly how thick these are, but I reckon they've got to be almost 30 thousandths. They really are quite solid, and if you've got an open keyway, then they can get in quite easily. They're certainly better than that first set that I bought. I don't think I've ever bent any of these. They're just so firm, and they had a reasonable amount of hooks. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 there. I think there's a couple of these profiles missing that disappeared over the years, but yeah, eight reasonable shaped hooks. And if you're just picking open keyways, then this is probably a reasonably good set to get. But yeah, unfortunately, being in England, there's a lot of paracentric keyways and more difficult keyways. A big plus with these is that they came with a case, which I still use to this day, and they also come with these slip-on handles that I never used. But I mean, they're thick enough and comfy enough to hold as is, but yeah, you can just slip those handles on and it gives you a little bit more to grip. So that was a nice feature, and they were only very cheap as well. I'm not sure how much I paid for them, but probably less than £20, I would have thought. But it was a good investment, because it came with a really nice case, which I'll show you later on, because I still use that one today. Anyway, so wasn't really getting on with those ones, as I think I'd perhaps a good few months into the hobby, and I was getting Euro cylinders from eBay, like this type of thing. Yale keyways, very tight keyways, very paracentric, and some of these profiles do get in there, but if you've got some challenging bitting, I think that's pretty good bitting on there, highs in the back. It's really very difficult to get up in the back with some of these profiles. And I was obviously watching a lot more YouTube videos and really getting into the hobby, investing in more locks and progressing. A lot of people were probably more the American pickers, which obviously YouTube with Bosnian Bill and lockpicking lawyer we're talking about Peterson and Sparrows, so I thought I'd invest in some of those. So I bought my first Peterson, which was this one, got some good use out of it, and as you can see there is a little bit bent over time, and I think I reshaped the tip a little bit to help me get in. And I bought some rakes from Sparrows, and they've got the thermoplastic or whatever it's called handles, and they're okay. I mean, I still find they're a little bit flimsy. I always preferred these really stiff ones, even though they were not the best picks. But the trouble that I had as soon as I got these was that they were just too small for me. You know, I was kind of I've got a kind of goofy stance, I guess you'd call it, when I pick. In that, I mean, a lot of people would hold the pick sort of similar to this, but I tend not to use my index finger due to an accident, and I end up holding it like this when I pick, and what that means is that the end of the pick quite often just falls off of my fingers. It just doesn't feel comfortable. Couldn't seem to find a position where a pick like that was comfortable for me. That's not to say that Peterson or Sparrows or any other picks are bad or good brands. I think it is personal preference. There's certainly, you know, some really great profiles and nice thin shanks on the Petersons, although they are a little bit higher shank height. But I mean, they're great picks, but they just weren't for me. I think a lot of people that I was watching were using them. But yeah, for me they were too small, and that kind of made it a bit awkward. So after just dipping my toe in the water with my one Peterson, I think I bought 3 Sparrows. I just thought they're not for me either. So I was sort of back to square one. I bought these picks here. These ones come from UK Lockpickers. And again, you're looking at when you're doing research and deciding what picks to buy. You're looking at pictures on the internet, and I don't know if these came with sizes or I just didn't see the sizes, but they're pretty much the same size as the Peterson there, which again for me it just sort of felt too small. So I didn't really get on with those ones either, and perhaps due to just not doing research on the length, it was just throwing good money after bad, I guess, on a sort of hunt to find picks that for me would be comfortable. And then thought, well, maybe I should buy some of my own picks. So I think these came from UK Lockpickers as well, but this was a blank. So you buy the steel blank like that. I shaped the tip on this one. When you get it, there's a similar sort of a blob of material about that big that sits on this end there. Just kind of comes out there, and then you shape the tip to whatever profile you want, and that worked really well. And to be fair, I'm not sure what steel these are. I don't know if they may have been Sparrows, because I know UK Lockpickers does sell Sparrows picks as well. But the steel in these is absolutely fantastic, and I've got one of these picks that I still use regularly. I use it to crowbar locks, and sort of when I'm get a bit angry with a lock, I get that in to kind of bully it, and it hasn't deformed at all, even though I've given it a massive amount of abuse. Again, they're really quite flimsy. They're being blank, so they do need handles. I think I tried putting on these spare plastic handles, but didn't really get on with that. And I think this was the first pick handle that I made, which is not too pretty. This is literally just a chunk of aluminium, and I used an epoxy resin and pretty much just stuck one of those on it. Very crude, but it really did the job, and it gave me the long handle, a nice stiff handle as well, and was a very comfortable pick. And I think I bought 3 of these and shaped them, and I still use one of those today in my kit, my final kit that I'll show you later on. The only trouble with these is I really like aesthetics, and yeah, it's not very pretty. And I thought there must be a better solution out there. So it wasn't long after buying these ones and playing around with those that I ordered this set. And these are Lock Tools picks, and specifically this is the Pro handle, and this is the Tiffany 3 hook set. I think they're 19 thousandths, so quite thin. But for me, as soon as I held that handle, I like the design of it personally, and for me, those large handles, fit beautifully in my hands. Give me plenty of leverage, super comfortable, and they're very thick. They're you've got the pick which runs all the way through, and then you've got this sandwich either side of this thicker steel. But yeah, it was just an instant fit for me. I think there's plenty of people out there that feel the same about Petersons or feel the same about Sparrows, and it was a personal choice for me. And as soon as I got one of these in my hand, I thought, they're just really comfortable. There's some great profiles as well, but the handles specifically were super comfortable. I really like this set and use them to this day. I thought I need to invest in some of these handles, so I went ahead and ordered the Ridgeback set, which is this one here, which has got some fantastic profiles. Lots of them that come in, slightly different design handle. It's the Echo, I think it's the Echo, called the Echo handle, that probably because of this little sort of detail here. What I didn't realise is that they're just a single thickness as well. I mean, it's all detailed on the website, but it's just me not reading through it properly or researching. And although they're really comfortable, you've got this ridged section here, super comfortable to use. I just found them a bit too flexy over time and a little bit too sharp on my fingers. You can get covers for these ones, but I decided that what I would do is have these ones as my backups, and I would go back to these handles, so the Pro handles from Lawlocks, and that brings me right up to date to the kit that I use currently. The Tiffany set lives in there like that, and we've also got, as I mentioned earlier, the case. This is the case that came with the cheap Chinese set, the second one I ever bought. But I just find it a really nice case. Everything stays together really well, and this just sits open on my desk, and I can admire these beautiful handles there. And it does mean that I can see all the profiles and grab whatever one that I need. So yeah, we've got the 3 Tiffany set there. This is one of the homemade handles that I made from a blank and shaped the end, and I've put this one through a lot of abuse over the last couple of years, and I think he's still pretty true actually. He hasn't really bent. So again, I don't know what steel was used here. Yeah, it's the same steel as that earlier one that I showed you, but yeah, it's a very strong steel, and I'd love a whole set in those, but I don't know if I was just lucky to get those. I'm not exactly sure what picks they were when I bought them. I've also got a single gem profile in there. I've got a couple of rakes over here. I also got the Reach and Curve set, which is, I think it's those 2 picks there. And these ones, these 5 here, are the heavy metals. They've all got this same Pro handle, which is that thick laminated handle, very sturdy. And a couple of rakes here from my Ridgeback set, which live in there. I don't use rakes that often, but I've just got a couple there that I can use if I ever need them. So there you go, that brings us pretty much up to date, I think. I don't think there's anything else to add, but I just wanted to kind of show you my pick journey, what I went through. And it wasn't until actually I was sort of thinking about doing this video, and I went through all the boxes that I've got in the desk that I sit out here. I realised how many picks I've actually gone through. So I've got all these ones that I use daily. We've also got the Ridgeback set. This set lives at my work, and I use that to pick locks there. Comes in very useful. So I've also got all of these ones here, all of these ones here, and then of course the Chinese picks, plenty of those. We've got the blanks that I bought there. We've also got all of these cheap Chinese picks, which started my journey. I think I've even lucky enough, I'll just grab a couple of these down, lucky enough to have obtained over the years some custom picks. Absolutely beautiful, way out of my league to make anything as beautiful as these picks, but these live in a special place, and they get used occasionally. I probably should use them more often, but yeah, I don't want to spoil that beautiful finish, and I just get them out occasionally when I want to really treat myself. So there you go, that's my pick journey. I think it took a lot of picks and a lot of time and money to find out what I actually like, which turns out to be these ones here. And that was my journey. It took me a couple of years to get here, and maybe I'll find other picks in the future that float my boat even more. Sorry, just realised I forgot to mention these. These are the Sparrows SS Devs. So these ones, yeah, they come as blanks, and I've just chucked these handles on. Not as nice as the custom picks I showed you earlier, but they're rather crude, but they definitely work. And these three picks here are in the Sparrows SS Dev set in 15,000s, and they're just for those really tight keyways that need a little bit more flex to kind of get into. But anyway, enough waffling on. I've kept you for long enough. Thanks for watching, and I don't know where you are on your pick journey, but I hope you find your nirvana soon enough. And yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.